So hello, welcome to Podcast with our guest host of a baby we can't see, but can hear.
Yeah.
Classic. Right, I've told Twitter, I'm just going to tell Discord. Chat amongst yourselves.
No.
Or don't. Okay. Oh, come on, guys, it's so awkward.
It's funny. Does anyone want to see the bookmark I've been using in Armageddon Out of Here? I've got a Sherlock one.
There's a little bit of it coming.
And then it's got John on it as well. I've had it for years and now I use it on all Skullduggery books. It's like, yeah, that'll do. Screencasting right there. I'll just use that one.
I want to personally congratulate Lizzie on reading all 5 books in like a week.
Yeah, incredible.
Via audiobook for the most part, I believe, but still.
I just couldn't do it because I need variety. I can't read the same thing that many times.
That's why I don't like doing like series in one go. I'm really awful for doing it. And honestly, the fact that we're on book 5 and I haven't bailed from my own read along yet, I am so proud of myself.
Yeah, I'm
this
like
is the most I've ever committed to anything.
I know this is the second time that I haven't like actually done what I'm supposed to do, but I'm still impressed with me.
Look at how much I broke the spine on this one. It's just...
Yeah, this was a good one. This was a good one.
Yeah, I was like full on like no like twist like cracking the entire spine. I was like, no, I have to like be in the book.
Yeah, for sure. This one, like, okay, so we'll start with like the non-spoilery bit. I'm literally only gonna put the banner up for like 5 minutes because honestly, I want to just get into the spoilers bit. But I want you to just start by saying, other than Emma, who hasn't finished it yet, what a rating you gave this, because this I gave a 5 stars, and I've been holding off giving 5 stars to Skullduggery because I'm like, but what if the next one's better? If it peaks here, I'll be happy, because this was just the best. It was just wild. But if it gets even better, fine. It'll be 5 stars from here on out. So
you don't like my... I do this to all my books, Lizzie.
Oh, is Lizzie coming for you?
Yeah, apparently it hurts her that I destroy my books by cracking the spine.
You read them? Yeah, just
that I actually read them. Yeah.
Yeah, outrageous. Bekka, what did you give it as a rating? Because it was a second read for you.
5 stars if I remember rightly.
Nice.
Epic. This one's epic.
Yeah, I gave this one 5 stars as well, which is also I think I gave the first one 5 stars, but that's just because I was expecting to hate it.
Yeah. Why were you expecting to hate it?
This series I did not think I was gonna like. I only participated because I was like, I'm gonna join Hannah's thing. And then I bought like 3 of the books at once, and I was like, no, these are gonna be awful. This looks so stupid.
This looks so stupid.
I'm now offended.
How dare you?
I'm now offended.
Well, it's
fun.
This did not look like it for me. I was like a skeleton detective. I was like, what am I, 5?
Skeleton. You read books about dragons on a regular basis, and you're going to come for Skeleton Detective?
Yes!
Really?
It sounded like a really stupid cartoon or something to me.
What did you think it was going to be? Like, if you can describe what you thought Skullduggery was going to be going into.
I thought it was going to be, like, really dumb detective adventures with just, like, this, like, annoying skeleton and a little girl just, like, solving mysteries together.
I mean, that is what it is. So what did you expect it to be that you don't enjoy? Is it just that it is exactly what you expected to have, just surprised you enjoyed it?
Well, I didn't know that it had like all that. I didn't know it had like all those magic elements or like anything in it. Like I pretty much just
anthropomorphic skeleton, a living skeleton, and you didn't expect magic.
I didn't know what it was. Nobody in the States reads these.
Yeah, but the skeleton's alive. There's gotta be something going on there. Yeah, it's gotta be some sort of magic.
Well, I just thought it was like a kid's thing, okay? I thought it was going to be very, very...
Kids' books. What's the one thing that almost all kids' books have? Magic.
No, that's not true at all.
I mean, when I worked at Warstones, the 99% of the kids' fiction were magic.
Yeah.
There are very few middle grades that I've read in general that them of some kind.
Okay, well, I just thought it was going to be stupid, okay?
Yeah.
Ali came in super judgy and was
Ali
proven
has
wrong.
about her own misconceptions of the book.
Whoa.
I'm just going to continue drinking my energy drink.
I love you.
Yeah. That's fair. So Emma, I'm fully expecting you to give this 2 stars now, just to be contrary. Just because we've all given it 5 stars, and you're just gonna be like, no.
I mean, I haven't finished it. I don't know fucking clue what's happening.
Yeah.
That's
Because I'm just dissociate all the time. I'm just kind of there. Like, I know certain things that are going on, and I'm like, alright, okay. I'm like, what? It's almost like, do you know what it's like? It's like when I go downstairs to have dinner with my gran and one of her soaps is on, and I'm like, I vaguely know who this person is. I vaguely recall something happening a couple weeks ago, and then my gran gives me the whole story. I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like,
yeah, my mum does that all the time. Where like she'll talk me through the plot, and I'm like, I know exactly 2 of the things you've just said.
I definitely move this series at this point, where I think my brain has gone to the point where it's like, you can't handle series anymore. So we're just gonna dissociate and enjoy ourselves and be clueless.
There's too many characters. I don't know who anyone is. I still don't know who anyone is. I'm just like people show up and I'm like, wait, which one? Which one is this?
I'm at a point where they've gone and there's a character and they've said the name and I'm like, I've definitely heard this name in other books, but I don't know who the fuck it is, and I don't know why it's relevant. Like, why are they here now? I'm just like,
see, I'm the exact opposite. Where for me, I like the fact that in each book you get more characters because you're not given the 1,000 characters in book 1. We have maybe 5 characters in book 1. We've got like her family that accumulate into one. Like, no, but this is the thing. So what I was going to say is like, I like the fact that every time it builds up, there's like more character to help build the world, because I am such a character-driven reader that I love a book where I can like bed in with a character. And when villains come back time and time again, which we will discuss, because I just love that. I just love the fact that there's like 2 or 3 that keep coming up, and they're not like the big bads. They're like little henchman bads. They're like low-level, low-key bads, and they're just enough for it to be entertaining and to see how they develop. Because it's something like Derek Landy, you'll have noticed now that we're in book 5, Derek Landy loves giving you the perspective of the villain. And like some of the villains in this one, their perspective is really interesting because a lot of them, it's just I kind of want to see what will happen if we do this kind of thing. Like, it's driven by ambition, but it's like, what can we get away with type scenario, as opposed to the last book that was purely driven by revenge, and the book before that was driven by this greater purpose. And it's just the fact that they're like, I just find that, I love that. The
fact that you can sit there and be like, oh yeah, this book's based on this, and the last one was this, and the one before. I'm just sitting there like, what?
I have a really good memory for books, though. It's why I find it so difficult to reread books, because I find that, like, if I was to pick this up again now and reread it, I would really struggle, because my brain would just go, you know this, and would just skip chunks.
I used to be like that, and even now, like, if I were to go and pick up, like,
pick me up.
Say, even this book, just start it physically or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
But like, if it's not there, it just goes. Like it's like my head's gotten to the point where it's like, there's too much in here, so we're gonna take it in and immediately forget it. And normally with books, it's like, oh, we're gonna take it in and retain it while we read it, and then lose it. This time it's just like, no, not relevant.
So what you're telling me is, you are the worst person to have on a live discussing something.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we got to book 5 before we worked that out.
It's the fact that it took you till book 5, but I'm pretty sure the second live.
And Emma wonders why
you know what happens.
And Emma wonders why I didn't invite her to be part of my read along.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the book series that I actually wanted to read before this was
well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, I already owned the box set. This, I was just like, oh, why not?
Yeah, I love how many people jumped on this on the understand like Ali obviously being one of them, but people that are like, oh, I only read this because you kept banging on about it. Like, that's my favorite thing because I know that I'm not as massive a fan as like Bekka and Abby, for example. Like for me, I'm rediscovering something that I only got like 2 or 3 books into initially, whereas like obviously Bekka, you and Abby have read like all of them and are like really excited to reread them.
I read the first series and I only finished that 2 years ago. Before then, I got up to book 3 when I was about
got a big smile on your face.
13, stopped until I was about 20, carried on, stopped at 6, and now I've gone all the way
Now we're very happy.
So I kept on getting distracted.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
like,
fair.
no shiny books. I'm just going, oh, wait a minute, yeah, that one.
Daddy knew just what I
Because I'm
wanted.
not telling Abby about, because Abby will has read them all, and I think
Yeah.
the only reason they're not reading the 14th one is because they're doing the reread.
Oh no, they've read the 14th one.
Oh, they read it already?
Yeah, they read it the day they got it.
I was going to say,
last,
last time I spoke to them, they hadn't read it yet.
Yeah, they've read it.
That's cool. Or they were just like, no, not telling you what happens, because that is something I will do, is be like, what happens? Tell me what happens. But anyway, right, let's move on to the spoilery bit.
Nobody else hear Tony in the background going, Daddy knows what you want.
Yeah, I can. I was just desperately trying not to like acknowledge it.
That's because he's a literal father.
I got from Ali was about Jeff Bezos' butthole. So
what? Shopping on Amazon, otherwise known as giving it to Jeff Bezos in the ass.
Yeah, no one says that, Ali.
Nobody says that.
Bo Burnham sung 2 whole songs about Jeff Bezos. Didn't mention his butthole once.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm just really into buttholes.
Yeah.
I'm too everything for this right now.
Yeah.
I think Ali needs to explain themselves. I'd like to point out that we are discussing a middle grade where people we care about died, and you're talking about butt stuff. I think you need to apologise and explain yourself.
I will not apologise for butts.
I'm not saying apologise for butts. I'm saying apologise for live stream.
There are no children here. It's fine.
We could hear them.
Well, other than my children are used to it.
No.
Think about what you just said. For like a second. For like a second, think about what you just said. Are your glasses steaming up?
Well.
No, they're really dirty.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Alright, I think we should move on to the book. Now, I don't know if Bekka noticed. I'm going to assume Bekka noticed and nobody else. There are a lot of, like, triangles in this one. We've got love triangles between vampires and people that can, like, jump through time and space. And we've got the ghastly Tanith and what's his name? Sanguine love triangle.
Yeah.
What was with Derek Landy in this book? Just being like, everyone needs to be love triangle.
I think this was written around the time that Twilight was written, so I think he was taking the mick.
Yeah, I got definite Twilight vibes. Yeah. Like, there's a bit where literally, like, he's a boy, and like, that's why they call it a boyfriend. And I was like, oh my god, this is Twilight. This is Twilight.
Kaelin is definitely there to rip Edward Cullen to shreds as, like, a thing, very subtly.
Yeah.
Totally there. Which I love.
For sure. Have you got to the Kaelin kissing part yet, Emma?
Hey.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll stop throwing it to you then.
I have so many notes. Like, every time Kaelin shows up, I'm just like, please, I prefer you. Please get rid of stupid.
Really?
Oh, I don't. Really? I'm sorry. I still don't like Fletcher. I find him stupid and annoying and not in a fun way. Like, he can be there, but I don't.
He's a teenage boy, though.
Yes, but I don't like them together. Like, he's fine as, like, comic relief, but, like, as a romantic interest, I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's fair play.
Okay.
Because I'd have hit him.
Draw attention to yourself.
But then again, I also would have hit Kaelin. by this point.
Yes, but Kaylin I would have hit and then made out with.
No, I would have just hit him and gone, quit whining! I don't like the whining.
Yeah, he is. The thing is, though, now that you've mentioned the Twilight thing, and like even the fact that his name was Kalen, which is so close to Cullen, like everything, I'm like, oh, like you know that meme where the guy's like counting his thumbs and like the maths is all like around his head. He's finally working it out. Like I definitely got Twilight vibes in that, but my brain just went Kalen, Cullen, like that was like a complete.
Yeah, like,
how did I not see that before? You know,
I didn't see that until you said that.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, Fletcher is the worst. I do get that. And I think, do you know what I think it is? I think it's because we know that Valkyrie is such an intelligent, sarcastic, independent woman that anything less than wholesome or funny is just not going to be good enough. And I just think the bar is set really, really high now. Fletcher is just... It's not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. And I don't think Kaylin is either. Although, to be fair, in those moments where she was like all by herself and she was like, oh, I'm now officially alone. But knowing that Kaylin has literally been tracking her every move to the point that he's now homeless again because he just wasn't there when the remnants were there. Like, imagine if he hadn't kissed her and hadn't drunk her blood and hadn't had all that happen. He could have notified everyone earlier on that the remnants had taken over the hotel because he'd have known. And I just think, oh, kissing, always getting in the way, the bigger picture.
My thought on literally every book ever.
It's looking
I'm
at
so
you.
confused.
You're right there, Emma.
I have no idea what's going on. Like, I'm even... Remember the last one where I was like, the sea hag came back? Yeah, even more confused. This sounds like the sea hag.
Have you got like a paperback? Or are you just doing it by the audiobook?
Just audio.
Ah, okay. So you can't even have like a cheeky like flick through to be like,
no.
Hey.
I was just audio, partly because I'm being a cheapskate, partly because I wasn't physically reading. And then that's it. But then I've also been off my meds because of pharmacy fuck-ups, so I'm fully dissociated and confused more. Oh, we have a mail!
I love it took you that long to realise that wasn't Ali.
I told you, I am not with it these days. I've had a hell of a week, and it has to be the same week the meds were off. I am literally like, I'm honestly, I don't want to like use terminology, but like, you know, like she going somewhere. But my head, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Okay, so which side do you fall on, Bekka? Are you Team Kaylin or are you Team Fletcher?
Team kill them both. Just like
nice. Oh, I like that. No, I'm gonna make
I hate romances in books anyway. Love triangles can die in a ditch, so I'm just very much like get rid of both of them, unless they're there to do useful plot things like teleport them places. Other than that, go away.
Yeah, that's fair. If we ever do Dead Famous merch, I'm going to do mugs with Team Kill Them Both.
I want it.
Emma, there you go. There's a commission for you. I need a skullduggery.
I'm just here to do the art. I'm here for the little quips to go all on a t-shirt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to need a skeleton with a big old hat on it and a scarf, and then Team Kill Them Both underneath it. Please.
Which works so well with the skull as well.
Right?
Yeah.
And only skullduggery fans will understand.
Yeah. Who watch fans
and those who are semi-adjacent readers.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so the other love triangle is Sanguine and Ghastly and Tanith. Now, we discussed this last time that I think the only person that Tanith should be dating is China. And I appreciate that's never going to happen. But I was still doubly annoyed with that little plot twist at the end of her new boyfriend. Now, Emma, this is a big spoiler for you.
Listen, am I going to remember? Probably not.
Right, in which case, let me just run down for you what happens. Tanith is invaded by a remnant, and it's left in there too long, so it takes over her soul. And she then dates a bad guy.
Stop. Back it up. What's a remnant?
The ghost possessive things that are like the spirits of like dead people that
Back it up. What are those?
Right. Okay.
We're moving on. Emma, we're just gonna leave you confused. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, these ghost things that I totally know about. Go and get Tannin.
They're sort of demons from
These
supernatural
things.
as in they take them over.
Yeah.
Does
Ring
that
a
help?
very vague bell, but like lights on, nobody home type.
Right.
thing.
In the last book, one of them.
Oh no, that's too far.
Okay. Right. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. One of them invaded Kenspeckle, and then that thing tortured Tanith. Do you vaguely remember some torture?
Is this? No, for some reason, the first place my head went to was some random mini version of Gordon Edgley's house in the tunnel.
We're gonna clean the puke off
It's
you.
got nothing to do with any of this.
No, you're going too far back.
Yeah. That's like book 3.
Yeah. Anyway, torture. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So these things basically they take over your body. They heighten your powers, but they also get all of your memories. So they basically become you.
Yes.
And after 4 days, they become part of your soul. And at the end of this book, very tragically, Tanith has had this remnant in her for 2 weeks. So there's no way of getting her back.
Oh, that sucks.
Look, when you told me after Ken Speckle's demise that I was going to regret saying anybody else, and then it was Tanith, I was like, at that point I was just so relieved it wasn't China that I didn't even care.
I just feel like this whole, there's no way to get her back. Like, we're on book 5 of 15.
Yeah, but she's also not Valkyrie. So I feel like there is.
Ghastly wasn't Valkyrie either, and he's not showed back up when she needed new clothes.
Yeah, but he took a couple of books to get there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 10 books to go.
So you reckon Tanith will come back?
All I'm
Yeah.
saying is that Derek Handy likes killing people.
Yeah.
Don't get attached to anyone.
Do
Yeah.
I seem like the type of person who can be attached?
That's why that mommy too.
I only care about China.
I'm saying nothing.
I only care about the canary car that only made an appearance in like the first book. That's what I'm sad about.
That one reference from book 1. That's all Emma cares about.
It's the only thing I remember. No, the only character I'm attached to is
Oh, right in Mommy's
the
face.
only like side, not even side character, but like very like secondary character I can even remember. So she's my OG.
Gonna puke on you.
She's my OG. Excellent. Okay. Ali, thoughts?
On what?
The love triangle between bad Tanith and Sanguine, and good Tanith and Ghastly.
Is that sweat or drool all over him?
Oh my gosh.
Drool.
Literally all over him.
Ali, that's really gross. I really don't like that. I don't like babies at the best of times, and you've just brought in a slobbery baby.
Rolling all over mommy.
Yeah, well, I have children. Deal with it.
I shouldn't have to. They're not my children.
You're my friend, and I have to take care of my children.
Fine. No, I'm not happy about it.
Anyway, I think it's kind of hilarious.
Go on.
At the end, they're just the remnant. Tanith is just getting it. She's just getting it with the
Sorry, Ali. I'm gonna need you to get your thoughts in order because the last thing we spoke about with you was Jeff Bezos' asshole, and now you're talking about someone in a middle grade getting off of someone's.
she's getting it with what's his butts.
Sanguine.
Yeah, I couldn't remember Sanguine and Scapegrace. I can't remember whose name is whose. I know the difference between them, but I get their names confused.
That's fair.
You want to just go with Razor Guy and Useless.
Yeah.
That doesn't help me.
Useless.
But honestly, like, yeah, I'm sad that Tanith is gone, but it's honestly kind of hilarious that now they're like buddy evil team.
See, that upsets me more because I loved Tanith. Like, Tanith was like, I loved China, don't get me wrong, but Tanith was my favourite because it was just the constant come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Just as a reference is hilarious to me. The fact that Landy's like, oh yeah, Londoners say that all the time. Like, that's a normal fact and then for her to, and like, it was so close with her and Persuade. So close! And then it didn't.
Well, that's when you knew something was going to go wrong, because they can never be happy. It's always the will they, won't they. As soon as they start getting there, the writers go, nope, and take it away.
Yeah.
Always the way. How does this work?
If it just
Ultimate pain and agony.
Yeah.
I'm just heartbroken that Ken Speckle is gone. He was my favorite character.
Yeah, let's discuss Ken Speckle's demise. Can we talk about how it was so fucking casual? The way it's just like, oh yeah, and by the way, Ken Speckle's dead. Like,
yep, Ken Speckle's cut open. What? He's just, his organs are spilling out on a table. It's fine.
Yeah, just discovering him there. Like, cool.
It was so dark. It was like he suddenly went from middle grade to slasher movie.
Right? They've been getting darker anyway, but it was at that moment that I was like, this is for kids.
There's a, hold on. It's a blue. Let me find the blue.
It was just like, it's worse because I've been watching like Fear Street movies now, so I'm just like, we're suddenly in that at that moment.
Indeed.
Good point. Good point, kid.
Oh yeah, there was this point here that I marked that I was like, this could never be adapted to film because it would have to be for adults. You couldn't make this into a movie and have it still be a middle grade. It's only fine if it's written, apparently. Yeah. Because it was like, some people use an electric saw to get through the ribs, Nye continued, but I find it somewhat unsatisfying. Okay, you gotta get that baby out of my face.
I'm reading about death right now.
It held up large pruning shears, the kind Valkyrie would have found in the garden shed at home, and these are much more effective. Just cutting Valkyrie open.
No, it was putting Valkyrie's heart in the vice.
Yeah.
It got me, because like the fact that she's like, I feel nothing, I can't tense, but the closer that thing gets to my heart, the more I feel myself clench. And I'm just like, that is absolute torture. Like, she's a kid. Like, admittedly, I think she's like 16, like 15, 16 in this, but like, she's still a fucking kid. Like, it's nuts. The whole thing is wild that is like just an acceptable thing to put in a middle grade.
I mean, if I would have read this as a kid, I would have been like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I was definitely that kid that read Goosebumps as a kid, so anything that was even remotely terrifying was on that, but this is,
I was watching Blade as a kid, so this was like, yay, more Blade, let's go.
Yeah,
I was
that's fair.
Wednesday Addams child, so fine.
And still are.
Yes, very much so.
Are you saying that Bekka is still a child?
No, Wednesday.
This face gets mistaken for 12.
Yeah,
all
on a regular basis. I did genuinely think Bekka was like 14 when I
look like a preteen boy, so it's fine.
Yeah.
No,
and Emma looks like a baby.
I just feel like an egg, but that works too.
Yeah. Just me that looks my haggard old age of 30.
You do not look 30.
No.
Again, it's because I've got chubby cheeks. I think I get away with it. Indeed. So the whole Nye thing, the moment that like Headless Horseman is just like, oh, can you take her home? And he's like, yeah, of course. No, don't trust it. Like, don't trust it.
Nye reminds me of the scientist who creates Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. That's what I see in my head whenever he turns up, just with more legs.
Well, he's described as quite long, so I kind of imagine he looks like a Slender Man type thing, is how I see it. But he definitely has those vibes.
Yeah. It's sort of like a mix in between, I think.
Yeah.
He's just plain creepy, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
He reminds me, actually, of like the other mother as well in Coraline. It's that very much similar sort of big, creepy. I think that's what he'd look like if he was in. Do you know what I mean?
Long-limbed and creepy.
Yes, holding a hacksaw usually, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Nah, the whole scene of him, and I think like Emma will have noticed this with the audiobook anyway. The audiobook, because it breaks up chapters weirdly, there are bits of that where it just like ends really abruptly. Like those chapters end really abruptly because she's basically being tortured, but it's like she's chosen this that just makes it even darker. Like there was one where I was like, oh, I'll just listen to the end of this chapter before I go to sleep, and it ends with her just like, yeah, and I couldn't fucking move, and I was like, oh, I can't sleep now. Like, it was just so dark. And I was like, oh, I'll just hear it out. And it just got worse. Like, I was proud of her for fighting her own way out. But, like, I've said this before, where it's really hard for me to believe that Valkyrie is even remotely scared of Skullduggery Pleasant. Because even though everyone's like, oh, she's frightened of him, or there is something frightening about him, I don't see that. Like, even when he's at his worst, I really don't see that. I just see this kind of like bit quirky uncle type. So for her to be so terrified of telling him that she's Darkess, that she does all of this on her own, that was the only kind of indicator to me that she was scared. Because who would put themselves through all of that if they were like, he'll get it, it's fine. Like, that to me is insane. And then I think the real classic Derek Landy is that she goes through all of this and then becomes Darkess anyway.
It's always the way you think you've solved it, and then he's like, nah, actually, it was too hard. Like, it's not, you're still screwed.
Yeah.
And I quite like that because it's not, it means that nothing's ever simple.
Yeah, it's not predictable. You can't guess how Derek Landy's going to write himself out those corners.
And it's fun.
What did you think of the Nye scenes, Ali, other than being terrifying and not suitable for film?
I mean, I just was enjoying it because I really like really dark things. And so I was like, darker, always darker.
I think this is why we all gave it 5 stars, right? Because we were just like, oh my god, do it again.
Keep doing that.
Like, I'm sat here like, oh, my pearls about it, but really, like, I loved it. Like, I loved how dark it got. And, like, as much as, like, the moments where, Ken Speckle's body is described, and, like, the way China is, like, desperate to get out of her own home, and the violations of stuff, like, people being taken over. Like, I really, really enjoyed all the little scenes of Remnants taking over little characters who mean nothing and never come up again, but you just have this, like, little snippet of their lives before they brutally beat the shit out of each other. Like, it was so tense, and I was just like, I love it. So, I hope the next one's as good. It's getting there. So,
the more fucked up something is, the better, because I'm just reminded of the book I'm currently reading, where I just got to the end of the chapter, and it was like, it's just like the last sentence in this chapter was, and then he murdered his mother, and I was like, oh. Like, I got excited. I was like,
what are you reading?
Interesting.
It's a Japanese thriller that's been translated.
Classic. Yeah.
I love foreign thriller and horrors, so
yeah.
Who's it by?
Kanai Minato.
Found it.
I love that you changed your name there, Emma.
Huh?
I love that you changed your name. Okay. Something more light-hearted to discuss that doesn't involve death of any kind is Valkyrie finally got to drive the Bentley.
Did she? Yeah. I didn't know she wanted to.
Well, she has to kind of like do an escape drive sort of thing, and Skullduggery basically goes, I've seen your driving, never going to happen again.
Yeah, she's a terrible driver.
She's a terrible driver.
To be fair, she's never had driving lessons, so she's just winging it.
Neither did I! And I drove a car just fine.
Okay.
We're all glad we don't live near you. Let's.
Yeah.
I was allowed at 15. My mum allowed me to drive her car to the front of our house. I got 2 feet and she went, no, stop, you're not driving my car anymore. I hadn't even gone anywhere.
Yeah, I
So.
was 11 when I first drove a car because we were on a like haven holiday, which they used to stay in like those caravans in like France somewhere, and they had like these really cool like pedal cart things, but they only had 2, and there's 3 of us, like me and my 2 brothers. So I had to be the good older sibling and let my brothers have them because we only could have them for an hour. So my dad was like, that's fine, they can play with those, I'll let you drive the car, because my mum had like this 4x4 automatic, so all I had to do was like stop and go, and going forwards was fine. I was very gentle going forwards. Going backwards I nearly reversed into a tree, and the only reason we stopped is because my dad put the handbrake up very abruptly and I nearly shat my pants. Like, it was so scary, and my mum was like screaming and like really upset about it. Yeah, terrified. Fun though, absolutely terrified. Oh, good times. So okay, we have had like predictions about Darkest before, and it was really interesting to see how the characters predicted Darkest's behaviour was going to be, or how it was going to come about, versus what actually happened. Because like Darkest is not an evil character. She just doesn't care. Like, she's just void of any kind of feeling. To the point that even the remnant that invaded her is just like, oh, wow, no, too scary, trying to bounce, and like not able to. Thoughts? Because that terrifies me. Just in a good way, but like.
I'm happy because I was going to be extremely disappointed if Darkest was just like the reflection, or was just like something boring. I wanted it to be an evil Valkyrie, and I'm happy.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Doesn't she kick someone's jaw off or something?
Yes, she basically she explodes their brain.
Yeah,
his brain explodes out of his head.
Yeah, that bit I was like, yes. The first time I read it, I was like, here we go.
Yeah, I love that. Like, all the remnants are like, we're gonna back off, and then there's just one that's like, I won't be afraid, who immediately like gets got.
Regrets it.
I kind of don't even want the series to continue. I just want her to become Darkest, and then I just want to read about that forever. I don't even care. I don't even care. I just don't even want there to be good times anymore.
What does that even mean? I don't want there to be good times anymore.
No more good times, only darkness.
I'm covering my face right now.
Do I get to read an entire book of no good times, only darkness? Because that's what I want.
I mean, considering the next book is called Deathbringer, I would imagine genuinely not good.
Necromancy everywhere.
Yeah.
Yay.
And there is a lot of Darkest content over the next 3 books.
Yay.
A lot. And other such characters, which are very fun.
That's just what I want out of all books, is no good times, only darkness.
Okay.
The more horrible something is, the happier I become.
Okay, so then how did you feel about Tesseract, the Russian assassin?
I enjoyed him, but I honestly didn't care about him that much.
Yeah,
because to me he was just a big, muscly assassin dude, and I was just like, eh.
I expected him to, because he's like front and center on it, I fully expected him to be the big bad. So for him to be such a bit player in this really surprised me. I wasn't mad about it. It was just kind of like a cute little subplot. But considering I thought that's what the main plot of this book was going to be, and then it was just remnants taking over all of Ireland.
Well, it's because the description on the back of ours doesn't really say much.
No, it just says a plague of body-snatching remnants.
Which it doesn't even get to until halfway through the book.
Yeah. Which is why I was surprised that, like, it's literally, like, up to there, it's all Tesseract, and then it's just all remnants. And Tesseract pops up at the end to get some revenge.
Yeah. I'm just glad that he didn't kill the Disciples of the Spider or whatever, because I love them. And they're Spidey.
And
oh no, they creep me out.
I love spiders.
No, I freak out at spiders.
I love spiders. If there's spiders in my house, I pick them up and I pet them.
I get my mum to get rid of them.
Apparently, all you've got to do is post them to Ali, because Ali collects them, apparently.
Yeah! If
I pick them up and I pet them.
They're cute!
You've never sounded more like a valley girl in your entire life. I pick them up and I pet them.
And that's what I'm talking about, spiders.
Yeah.
If I get drunk, I turn into a valley girl.
That doesn't surprise me.
You should move to Australia. They have big spiders like that big.
I know! I want them so bad!
No, I saw a video of one the other day and was like, no, I'm out.
At some point, I'm getting a tarantula, and I'm just gonna walk around with a tarantula on me because they're so cute!
You're gonna be that crazy lady where everyone's like, does she know there's a spider on her face? And you're like, yes, he's my friend.
I mean, I thought I was bad.
You know what else is cool? Centipedes.
I terrified a little girl in the pet shop today because I had Brew at the vet and I had Rat with me as well, and Rat was like wanted out, so she was on my shoulder, and we're in the queue and this guy turns around and he was like, whoa, and he calls his daughter over, he goes, look at that, and she was like, and I don't think she realized like what it was. I was like, okay, I was like, you can pet her if you want. She was like she was like, okay, no worries. The dad was like, can I pick it? I'm like, what?
And then he took it and he ran away.
Good luck trying.
Emma's like, I'll fight you.
I will. It's the only time I will fight. But speaking of rats, someone's sleeping with their eyes open and it's creepy.
My baby does that.
Oh no. There's nothing creepier than something sleeping with its eyes open.
He does, and then he also just kind of like twitchy smiles. So he's just like.
But that's possession.
Well, there are ghosts in my house, but it's fine. All they do is spill water on the floor.
I think that's just your clumsiness, but okay.
The only other thing that I have in my notes to talk about is the betrayal of Wreath right at the beginning by letting the remnants out in the first place.
Well, I mean, he does
it as a test.
Such a twat.
And I was like, I know, like, it was another one of those classic things where, like, all the characters have been like, don't trust them. And I'm like, but they haven't done anything.
Ooh.
And then he did this, and I was like, oh, that's why I don't trust them. I get it now.
You know what I'm excited for? Melancholia. Melancholia getting fucked over. She's just getting fucked up. She's just gonna be a fucked up, dark, necromantic bitch, and I'm excited.
She is fun.
They're doing terrible things to her!
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good!
Again, listen to what you just said. Think about it for a second. They're doing terrible things to her. It's fucked up. It's so good.
Have you ever tried going into the Wump community?
The what?
The Wump community. Have you ever heard of Fandom Wump?
No.
Oh my god, it's like the ones where, if you've watched like Prodigal Son and things like this, where the character is constantly kidnapped, beaten up and all the rest of it, and everyone's like, yes!
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole thing I stumbled across the other day and went, oh, okay, this is community. This is a thing.
Fair enough.
Backing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just leave now.
I'm out of notes, so someone else with notes. What else do you want to discuss?
Lord Vile at the end.
Yes. Plot twist. Lord Vile's turning up.
Oh wow, what a plot twist.
It was just
Ali
fun
wasn't
to see him.
Look, who didn't expect that?
Well, I didn't, just because he died so abruptly in the first one. This is the thing, it's like I've seen so many things and I've read so many books where they come back from the dead, and I've just assumed that people aren't going to do that anymore because it's so overdone. So when it gets done, I'm just like, oh, they're back. Huh.
But it's just like, you just start to see that level of power that he's got, and you start, because obviously you've heard about him throughout the books, and suddenly you start seeing glimpses of that power, and it's like, oh, I wonder what he's going to do now, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
He says knowing exactly what's going to happen, but there we go.
You know, I love how there are little bits when you can, like, tell, like, because Dorcas is very uncaring. But Valkyrie has moments where you're just like, you want to give a shit?
Yeah.
It's definitely like, that's a part of her, because there are moments where she's not being Dorcas, you're just reading it and you're like...
It's her subconscious. It's more like her subconscious. But
Yeah.
also, the fact that they think that Valkyrie is going to be the next Deathbringer and Lord Vile was the one before her.
That's not what I'm saying!
What does your husband think you were saying? Dorcas?
Dork-ass.
Dorcas?
He thinks that I'm talking about Dorcas.
Interesting.
Now I'm never going to be able to read the name Dorcas again.
You've just ruined the books. Single-handedly.
Don't get a husband.
Wasn't planning.
I love that all three of us are like, not for me.
No. I was literally asked the other day, what would I do if I had a boyfriend and I needed a bigger bed in my room, and I went, dump him because I want more bookcases.
Oh, books over boyfriends every goddamn day of the week.
It was literally like, what do I want more? Bookshelf room or a boyfriend? Bookshelf room. Duh, by a mile. Like, what?
Yeah, I just think of all the time and upkeep a boyfriend requires, and I just think I just don't have time. I've got so many books to read. I just don't have time. I'm sorry.
I mean, my husband's just kind of there.
Like, my best friend's gotten a boyfriend and they're constantly out now, and I'm like, no.
Oh god, I don't go places. Disgusting.
I don't go places.
like they go everywhere now and stuff like this, and I'm like, why?
Oh, gross.
To read.
No, thank you. My husband just exists in the same house as I do, and that's...
And interrupts you on a regular basis.
Yes, but...
That's fair enough.
I was going to say then, did anyone else notice the Princess Bride reference in the book?
I don't notice references.
Did you share it in the Discord?
I'm pretty sure I did, yeah.
Okay,
I'm not left-handed.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, like, I love that moment because I'm such a Princess Bride fan. That's such, like, an obvious yet not obvious thing.
Yeah.
They could have easily have gone down the as you wish line, but instead they went down the I'm not left-handed bit, which I love.
Yeah, it was subtle because it was one of those ones where I was like, I didn't notice it as reading it. When you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, of course. Well, you know, okay, let's run through the other references because you said there was also Star Trek and mutant references.
Yeah, so when obviously Fletcher teleports the twins, they go, is this like from Star Trek? And you go, wait a minute, the twins know what Star Trek is? Because they don't sound like that. And then they
don't strike me as Trekkies, no.
No. It's like, I'm a Trekkie, and I'm like, the twins don't look like Trekkies at all. And then they ask her if she's a mutant as well, which I love because I'm like, at the time, that would have been slightly niche.
Yes.
It's slightly niche. You know?
Just a little bit.
I had to look at the date that this one was published, which is 2010, so I mean, it makes sense. But because when the twins popped back up and he talked about them, I was kind of like, he very much was like, one of them looks fat and unhealthy and the other one looks skinny and unhealthy, and I was like, can we not? Thanks.
Can we not? Yeah.
11 years ago.
Yeah.
Ignorance. Not
fun. Also, I found one of my marks foreshadowing that we mentioned the unnamed very briefly, and I was like, that's going to come up later.
What's that context? I'm trying to remember now.
There...
You don't have to fill it with just absolute sound. Like, you can just have a look and then get back to us.
I can't. They're somewhere, and they're like, I think it's like they're looking at like a statue, and she asks if it's malevolent, but it's the unnamed instead, which is
Yeah, I
worse.
haven't come across that bit yet, so we're fine. I can't remember that at all in the next book, so...
Well, it better come up. It's on page 87.
87.
Ask Abby about that.
I mean, it's mentioned that he's, like, so horrible. I can't imagine that wouldn't come up. Like, why would they have that and then not have that be a big bad guy later on? That's just a...
Well, I'm not going to Google it because I don't want spoilers, but...
Yeah.
Ask Abby, I say, because obviously she's read all of them, so she'll know. I can't remember that bit.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember that.
He's basically, like, sounds like an ultimate big bad.
Yeah, so he sounds like almost like a faceless one or an ancient one. Like
something very horrible because
or just
he
evil
doesn't
incarnate.
Yeah, he doesn't have a name, so like the name conventions don't matter to him. So, he gets his magic from somewhere else.
Yeah, so it's these chambers were built before the war that Malevolent even started. No, that's not Malevolent. That's his master. That's the Unnamed. So the idea that you've got Unnamed, then Malevolent, then Lord Vile, and then everyone else. Yeah. Like, it's the idea of tearing him up. And then it's like, was his name unnamed, or did he just not have one? He didn't have one. She frowned. But how does that work? Which is fair.
I love all of the bits where Valkyrie's, like, asking questions about the world, and Skullduggery, like, leads her on and then goes, no, I'm lying to you, you idiot. I love those little bits of, like, no, you're an idiot. Don't believe a word I say.
See, I find stuff like that really interesting just because, as a plot device, Landy uses dialogue quite a lot to explain facets of the magic world, but only when it's relevant. And I find that, like, sometimes you can have magic systems which are over-explained or under-explained, for my liking, because they're not developed enough in conversation, whereas Landy is just like, yeah, she asks a lot of questions. That's a facet of her personality that will remain consistent. She will constantly be asking questions, so you don't have to.
Yeah, because otherwise he'd be constantly answering questions on Twitter and things like this. So it's just nice to have them in world where you don't feel stupid for asking.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's nice to not be like, oh, why? And then she asks, like, oh, I'm not an idiot. Good to know.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I agree. Something else we've not discussed, which is Scapegrace.
There was a bit where Scapegrace was like, me and Thrasher, we can be your spies. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. I just want a book of just Scapegrace and Thrasher being spies.
I would read an entire subplot. I'd read an entire sub-series of Scapegrace just being a zombie idiot.
I think it should be a graphic novel, just Scapegrace and Thrasher spies.
Or just
spies.
Spies.
Or just the two of them trying to survive day to day in the ice cream van.
Yeah.
It needs to be a graphic novel series. It definitely does.
Yeah.
You're right there, Emma.
Ice cream van?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Also, Abby tweeted about 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago, being like, can I sit and read or sit and watch BookTube? And I'm just like...
Did she forget?
I don't know.
Well, she retweeted it earlier. And I tagged her in it. But I can't remember if this was the week that she couldn't do because she was coming back from somewhere or doing something.
I don't know.
I'm just going to scroll back through our entire conversation, see if I can find it. So you guys discussed books and shit.
Well, I liked that there was character development with Valkyrie.
I'm like, are you okay?
What?
Oh wait, it doesn't have the Wi-Fi or something. Yeah, she doesn't have good Wi-Fi, so I don't think she was able to stream.
Ah! We were just talking about you. We were like, why the fuck is
I'm really sorry. It's been a very interesting day in my house. I'll tell you guys, like, in our chat, which literally, I think there'll be about 5 words and you'll go,
It's Abby! Even
but it's not.
But we were just discussing scapegrace.
Yeah.
You've missed the mod vial talk and everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch this back.
Yeah. It's probably a good job, because between you and me, we would have given something away.
We would have just had to turn the cameras off.
Yeah, again.
There were a couple of moments earlier where Bekka had to put her hands over her face because she was just like, I will end up saying something.
Probably a good job that I wasn't there. Saves
Yeah,
everyone.
probably.
Well, things we've covered thus far is all of the love triangles, multiple love triangles. We've got vampires and Twilight references. We've got Trekkie references. We've got a Russian assassin who was kind of mediocre in comparison to the Remnants. We love the Remnants. Ali has loved how fucking dark everything is. More torture and murder, please, is essentially what she just said. And when I asked Bekka which team she was on, Team Fletcher or Team Kaelin, her response was, Team kill them both.
She really doesn't like Fletcher. I'm just team eh.
Okay, there is something I want to mention.
Go on.
How long are Skullduggery and Valkyrie gonna know that something is wrong with the reflection and just keep using it? How long are we gonna hint at the reflection having something going on and just keep going with it? How long?
Look at their faces. You know something.
Yep.
Because we've been talking about this reflection having issues since like book 2.
I would say book 1. I would say even in book 1. Like I admit, it got more wild after they shot it, but the reflection has always been a bit iffy.
Yeah.
But look, the thing is, they've had a lot of other things to deal with.
Yeah, but the thing is they know, she's very obviously like, something's wrong with this, and then she's just like, eh. And it's like...
I mean, to be fair, that happens with a lot of things.
Yes, but this has been going on since the first book.
Don't do anything.
They've got no brain cells. China has locked the brain cell away, so obviously they're not doing anything.
So can we blame him?
No.
Can you blame for no brain cells?
No, but that would explain the entire series. That Skullduggery doesn't have a brain. That explains everything.
To be fair, at least we know now that we're not going to have to share the brain cell between Tanith and China, because Tanith has abandoned ship on that one, so it will be exclusively China using the brain cell. So
she replaced the brain cell with a remnant.
She did.
Yeah.
Not by choice, but still. Yeah.
Literally, I was reading the whole thing, don't want to read it, don't want to read it, don't want to read it, it's coming up, don't want to read it.
See, I thought that happened in the previous book, so I was very confused reading the previous book, going, "Where's the Tanith bit?" And then going,
is that how you? Because I remember there was a couple of times when, in the live, we were talking about something, and you were like, "Oh yeah," and I thought, no, I'm not going to say it, but I thought something happened in this book, and it happens in the next book, and I was like, I need to know what it is.
Yeah, it was that bit, because when she was tortured by Ken Speckle, I was like, is this the bit where she gets taken over? And then was really confused when that scene finished and they rescued her, and I was like, but she's still hurt.
Yeah, when they took the remnant out of her in that one, I was like, eh? Wait, she's back? What's happening?
Also, Abby, quick question. You'll know. The unnamed, do they turn up in the second series? Because we've had that mentioned and none of us know.
It's ringing bells.
Bells are chiming.
I'm Googling it.
See, I feel like out of all of us, only Abby and Bekka are allowed to Google shit, because otherwise we're going to get spoilers. I mean, I'm not that much fussed about spoilers, but
I can't Google stuff. I can only Google Series 1 stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
I frequently ask Hannah to spoil things for me. If we're reading the same book and she's ahead, I'm like, please just tell me.
Emma's new name!
I know, Emma is in struggle central right now. It's frozen in such you look stoic. What are you guessing for, Abby? Were you correct? Good.
So do they turn up or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Woo!
Good to know.
Reappears.
Good.
And I now remember where it reappears, and it's really cool.
Oh, good.
Fair
I
enough.
can't tell you
Right.
anything.
No, that's fair.
We're all just looking at you expectantly like you were going to say.
I'm not spoiling it.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Mandy spoilers are always best not known.
I guess that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I know, but like it's always best with this series to not look anything up because otherwise you miss the massive moment of the plot twist.
Well, the thing is, this is the thing. So, like, I, this week, have been reading pirate books, and one of the books that I read was Vampirates. And I didn't realise when it was first written, it was meant to be a standalone and then became a series because it was so popular. So the first book, like, wraps up really neatly, but, like, it has kind of an ambiguous ending. So I then bought the rest of the books in the series, and then by, like, putting them away, putting book 6 away, there was like a spoiler of something being like, oh, and then of course these two, I was like, oh, so that's going to happen at some point. Great.
Yeah.
I hate doing that.
I can't stop. They put like multiple of descriptions of the books in the, and I have to read all of them. I'm just like,
I go into each of these books blind. I just go, oh, it's a new one. Off I go.
Oh, we've lost Emma.
I think that was a Wi-Fi thing. No, thank you.
Probably. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, what I will do is remove Ali and I from this so that you two can discuss Armageddon out of here, because Bekka has done her absolute best to cram some short stories in.
I'm only 144 pages in though, so I haven't gotten all the way through yet. I'm
Okay.
still only on.
You'll have to lead the conversation.
You're quite a bit through them though, because wait.
I've only got to get through like 3.5 more stories, I think, and then I'm all caught up. It's shocking. So I had 2 hours.
Let me check.
I'm halfway through Friday Night Fights.
So you only need to get up to page, I think, 213.
Well,
Online.
237 in my one. So I've got like 90 more pages to go.
Yeah, but it's skullduggery.
I know, it took me 2 hours to read that bit.
It's fine. But yes, I read.
So the reason Emma dropped out is because her computer decided to just reload. And my favourite thing they've ever said is, and after all that I was contributing. Which I love. So, right, in which case, I will drop Ali and I out of this, and you guys can discuss Armageddon.
Well then. So.
This suddenly feels very intimate. Aren't you glad that I eventually turned up?
Yes. Because otherwise it would have just been me going, I've only just read this, and my brain's already gone.
So anyone who's watching or watches it back, I read it when it came out. Apocalypse Kings. If we talk about that one at all.
Yeah.
I read Apocalypse Kings when it came out early this year, and then reread it in order, and I've also read most of this, although the bookmark's deceiving, because that one there, my camera's backwards normal, is the end of the world.
Yeah.
Mine.
I didn't bother tabbing. I just go, right, well, that bit.
Anyone who's seen my videos,
yeah,
I tab like chapters.
I can't be bothered. I just go, how much can I read in a day?
Anyway,
If I don't, I just
on to the tabbing. Let's open it up. I mean, I'm sure yours has it as well. This blooming camera. I usually use a different one. So, Short Story Back has everything laid out in a nice little timeline. If you're wondering what those are, those were 2 short stories that were published separately in their own teeny tiny bind-ups, and so I put sticky notes so that I knew where they were.
Oh, that's what mine just looks like. So basically the same inner pages. Just yours is bigger. If you hold yours up because yours is bigger than yours is, that sounds bad. Yours is bigger than mine.
Hey.
Size doesn't matter.
So the first one was Across the Dark Plane.
Yes.
That
Give me a second. I wrote notes. I actually wrote notes.
I just wing it.
No, I just wrote down notes of the short story so I could add it to my vlog later. That's what I did. I wasn't noting for this. I wing these.
Wondering.
No, I wing these.
Well, while you get your notes up, Across the Dark Plane is basically set back in time in the cowboy sort of era in the US, and it is skullduggery and the dead men all together. And this scene on my edition.
Yeah. I have the same one.
Hey, finally I fit in.
Hey.
Do you have your notes?
Yes, I have one line of notes for each story.
Go ahead.
No. I love the cowboy vibe because I'm a big fan of Westworld TV series, so I'm just here for the cowboy vibe.
I like Westworld.
And the fact that it was like the first time we used to see Skullduggery meet Wreath, and you suddenly go, "Oh, that's why he hates his guts."
Yeah.
Because before it was just like, "Why does he hate his guts?"
Yeah, it really explains really well why Skullduggery actually hates Wreath, and it's amusing and understandable.
Yes. But also, it was weird seeing him on horseback. I'm just like, I'm trying to, because all I have in my head then is Discworld, because Death rides a horse.
I was about to say Mort.
Yeah.
I've read 2 Death books, but that's one of them.
Yeah. Well, I've read The Hogfather, so that's my main one, and Mort, and a couple of others. But I was just imagining Binky. Just him on Binky. But the thing is, as well, is like in that time as well, if he'd been more of a prank type person, wouldn't you have dressed up like this and ridden in on horseback with a scythe?
A classy man, and at the time, class was a cowboy.
Yeah, but it would have been funny. It would have been so funny.
This was when he was a dead man.
But they could have had some fun. Everybody else is like, you're telling me that none of them
reincarnated after Suchleys occurred. I can't remember how much we know about the Suchleys, but I know you know what happened. Yeah. He's a skeleton. Not happiness. He didn't come back all smiles and daisies.
No.
So he wasn't in a joking mood.
Yeah, but you telling me none of the dead men encouraged him? During
I said he refused to do it.
Yeah, but you're telling me Dexter Vex isn't still in his ear going, come on, do it for Halloween. Do it for Halloween.
Tweet Derek Landy. We'll see what he'll do.
That or Gordon. You're telling me Gordon never went, do it?
Gordon would do it. I think Gordon would probably, moving on to the Horror Writers Halloween Ball, where Gordon and Skullduggery go to a writer's ball. It's a fancy dress one for Halloween, and Skullduggery goes with him. And I think Gordon was probably pissed that he didn't just walk around as a skeleton.
Yeah.
Just naked.
Yeah. Like, just go as the Grim Reaper. But then I guess
a lot easier.
But at the same time, they would have then had to try to explain the eyes.
Yes, the eyes.
That would have been the problem.
True.
Unless they hooked him up to some fairy lights and put 2 blue ones in there. Would have been like, it's a very good mask for death.
I mean, could work.
Could have worked.
The actual plot is that Gordon has finally became big enough, when he's still alive, obviously, to go to some big mortal writers' ball. And he's like, oh, let's bring Skullduggery, he'll find it fun. So they go along, Gordon's in this ridiculous costume. He's like a giant Cthulhu or something?
Creature from the deep or something. There was flippers.
There were flippers. And he's just basically a giant suit. Like, imagine a kind of sea
Michelin Man
version of like a furry.
Like, I was thinking Michelin Man with flippers and a mask.
And then, so he's struggling to actually do anything, say anything, interact with anyone. He just keeps whacking everything. That's Gordon. And then they find out that creepy-ish is going down.
What I loved was the fight in that between Gordon and the bad guy. They're just basically doing this. And then Gordon just sits on him and waits for the cleavers.
Part of me likes to imagine that Skullduggery is just going, got it handled.
Yeah.
Just watching.
If this was a film, it would have just been that moment where he walked past or ran past, looked in, went, he's got that handled, and carried on to go and fight someone else. Because it would have been great, wouldn't it? Just see Gordon just flopped on top of the other guy and both of them gasping for breath and him going, yeah, that's fine. Off we go.
What's your notes for this one?
Literally that. And it's nice to see unfit people fighting. It would have been like, oh, that's my representation. Yeah, I get out of breath walking uphill. Yeah, it's like, I get out of breath walking up the stairs. This is what I would have done.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't walk upstairs.
Stairs are evil. Next,
exactly.
The lost art of world domination.
Give me a second, I'm going to refer to the notes because I have the notes up. Okay, so that is 3, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. I loved him in this one. It was so Doctor Who vibes again. You know, sort of like Apocalypse Kings.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. It was so like Whovian vibes of sort of like you've got this big bad and the Doctor's sitting there going, yeah. Oh, you? No.
Yeah.
It's like he's off. He was supposed to be fighting the Daleks and he's been faced with the Absorbalov. It was essentially that.
Yes. I think that's it. I'm thinking of specifically the woman whose face ends up in the stone and the Doctor just being like, okay. I know she's not a monster.
The woman who's... Do you mean the skin? I've seen that episode once and then tried to forget it ever existed.
I saw it twice.
You poor woman.
Head. One of the women that gets... The main character's love interest gets stuck in a paving stone and he takes it home.
I vaguely remember this. The only thing I really remember from this is the Absorbalov with all of the faces and the fact that the guy who plays Mr. Tea Time in The Hogfather is also in it. That's all I remember.
Well, the Doctor manages to like zap the Absorbalov and they like dissolve into the stones and everyone else is like, we're gonna go, bye. And she's like, I'm gonna stay, I love you. And she stays in the stone. It's a very weird episode.
It's why it's not mentioned anymore.
It creeps me out. Let's just put it simply. It creeps me out. And now I want to move on to the next one because I don't want to discuss.
Well, I was just going to say about that one. I just love the fact that he tricked the guy into opening the box and then he just got his knee and went squish.
Squish.
Plan fail.
Squish.
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 Yeah. Squish the bug. Off we go.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Gold babies and the brother Muldoon.
Yeah, that one was weird.
Is that the church with the goblins?
Yeah.
I like that one.
It was weird. I liked the peg a bit. When the sister thinks she's in the...
No.
What?
Sister, yes. Peg, no.
Her name's Peg.
Is it? It is. I'm really bad with names.
I remembered it because I just read it 2 hours ago. And in my head.
Like last month.
Yeah.
I did not remember the name was Peg. But yes, I like the sister.
Like, the fact that she was completely in love with Skullduggery. And he's just like, no.
She's very reasonable.
Yeah. Because he explains to her and she goes, oh, okay.
It won't work, that's fair. But I'm not going to go with what my brother's saying. I'm not going to be angry about it. That we're not going to have love and it's unrequited. I'm just going to do my thing. I was like, you know what? Respect that.
Yeah. That is an empowered woman.
Yes.
If weird. because it's Goblin. But at the same time, it just makes me wonder, how long did you think it took before Valkyrie told everyone?
Ooh.
Tanith knew within the hour.
What's his name again? The handsome one of the dead men.
Only one in my head is what? Ravel.
Rabble.
My brain went to Dexter Vex then. Don't know why. Yeah.
Oh, I just remember that Rabble, when they meet up with the whole Coil juice thing, Rabble is described as being handsome.
Yeah.
So him, she would tell him in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, but she definitely told Tanith.
Oh, of course. Tanith finds out immediately, and China is overhearing in the background.
Yeah. And Ghastly definitely found out.
Well, Tanith was going to tell Ghastly.
I feel like Ghastly, like there's got to be this sort of moment where Ghastly's doing a new suit for Skullduggery. Tanith mentions it, and Ghastly just messes the entire suit up because he's laughing too hard.
I'm thinking more that Ghastly would take the information, would store it, would not use it, and then about 3 years down the line will pull out for a punch.
Yeah. Just waiting for the perfect moment.
It's like, no, not now. Must wait.
Like, just all that little nugget and be like, I'm going to wait until the best moment and then I'm going to say it. You know, like all best friends do.
I looked at the name of the next one. The slightly ominous end to the Legend of Black Anis.
Oh yeah, that one. I just read that one as well. So that's the one with the woman who turns blue in the cave.
Oh, I like that one. I like it all. I'm saying that to every single one.
I love the fact that it was like Tanith, and it was like focused on like from the bad guy's point of view, but about Tanith.
Yeah.
And like Tanith's cleverness. And doesn't Black Anis also then turn up in the Maleficent 7?
I don't know. I haven't read that one yet.
Oh, I've read that one.
No, I've read it. Just not since it came out in like 2012 or whenever it was. It wasn't 2012. Now I
read it last year.
Look what you've done.
You're sounding Welsh again.
Stop saying I sound Welsh.
Why? It's funny. And it's true.
I said 2012. This says 2013.
Not bad. Not bad. Wait, does yours have character art in it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what mine's got as well.
Does yours have a blue lady in the middle? So I'm assuming that's Anis.
Yeah. And because do you have the same on the back as well, or like a different one?
Different one.
Yeah, because I've got the different one as well. Because that's not the Dead Men, is it? I've forgotten. I think that's the Dead Men.
Why am I getting Kaelin vibes from the vampire-y looking one?
That can't be Kaelin, he's too old.
What do you mean? He's too old. He looks like a teenager.
To me, he looks about 25.
To me, he looks like an 18-year-old trying too hard.
Isn't that all 18-year-olds?
Yeah, that's the point. Anyway, so yes. I like the way that she ropes in just a standing by person to help without actually having to tell them what's really going on.
Yeah. It's like, just like that.
She's like, oh, there's just something stuck. Just when I give it a tug, you'll know I've got it secured around it. Just drive.
It's just that nice sort of thing of, oh yeah, I'm going to include this mortal, but cleverly. Without endangering them whatsoever.
Exactly. Then we have Friday Night Fights.
That's the one I'm halfway through. And then I haven't read anything afterwards.
Ah, okay.
So I am literally just at the point where Victor has just been introduced. the other vampire in the fight.
Oh, in the fight. Yes, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, I've just got to that bit. I was not expecting this to be where Kaelin was introduced. See, I don't know why.
I already read it, so I knew.
But I read it and was like, oh, okay, you're here. I don't like Kaelin, so.
So, you know what happens at the end, because you know what happens at the end, because this takes place before when we meet them.
Yeah, and so we know that he's killed a vampire.
Works out fine.
Yeah.
Within what happens, because they obviously meet later, and she's helped him in some way.
Mm. So you know that
the entire thing, from the second you figure out where they are and what's going on, you know how she's helped.
It took me until they said that he was going to be fighting another vampire for me to go, oh, that's what's happening now. It's been a long week.
He's in chains.
It's been a long week.
Chains.
Long week.
You wait till I message the group. Long week. Chains. Right. Next
I did like, though, that we do get that explanation, though, as to the fact that they've now met.
Yes, I like the fact that you get the insight into it that doesn't really fit in the main story. It doesn't, like, with where it would have been in, like, when she's trying to get Skullduggery back. That's not what we wanted to read about at that point. We didn't care about her weird side adventures. So, I mean, I think we could have if you'd chosen to go fully down the it's going to take a while to get Skullduggery back route.
But at the same time, it's got the Skullduggery Pleasant series, and it would have been like that Artemis Fowl book where he's got a different personality, and it was like, this is not...
the Arctic-y one.
No, not the Arctic Incident. That's book 2. It's the 7th one. 6th one? Second to last one.
7th is 8. I've not read the 8th.
Oh, Last Stand's very good.
I need to get it. I just don't have a copy. Can't remember, but I don't know which one you mean.
Yeah, I was bored throughout that one because there was no Artemis. And I was like, I want... Yeah, it was like that. I mean, I get away with it with the Fowl twins because they're very Artemis.
In that series.
I love it.
Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe hated it. And she also is objective and good at knowing what I like.
Fair play.
She's like, no, you'll not like it either. I was like, okay, I won't waste my time.
I can't enjoy it. I like seeing the twins.
I'm jumping in purely so that we can fangirl over Olivia together, because Olivia is a dream.
Olivia is a dream. I love Olivia. I get to speak to her every day, and it's honestly been the nicest thing of 2021. Every day, because she's an early riser as well, and she's an hour ahead.
Yeah.
So every day in the morning, I wake up to a message saying, I've read today's chapter. I hope you have a lovely day. Like, let's discuss it when you've read it.
See,
together, for anyone who doesn't
I am jealous.
I did know, because I watched all of your TBRs and you mention it every single time, and every single time there are slightly more tabs, and it's so satisfying to look at and just see that, like, yes, I have made it through all of these chapters, but also, like, I really want to read it because I've got, like, the really fancy pretty copy. But I also don't want to read it because it's taken you all fucking years, so it's going to take me at least 3. It's got, like, even that is just so pretty.
I'm planning to get that edition once we've finished as, like, a little...
Treat to yourself.
The reason why I don't think it will take you the entire year is, I mean, we've read 1 chapter a day, 2 chapters on weekends. The plan was to spread it out over the year. So... it was to be like, okay, this book is stupidly massive. We'll read a teeny tiny bit of it. It'll just go on in the background. It was supposed to go until the end of the year. It's not going to go on until the end of the year. We're very excited, but almost at the end. So yeah, if you actually like read it like a normal person, like even if you just read 2 chapters every day, like yeah, it would still take a bit. It's a big book.
I don't read that much of the books that I actually want to read. Because I end up picking up, like, I'm so bad. I've sold this up to Ali before. I'm so awful. I'll get 30 pages in and then I'll go, that's nice. I'm going to pick something else up now. There's nothing wrong with this. I just want to read 30 pages of something else.
The first time I read War and Peace, I read 60 pages. The first time I read it, don't worry. First time
I was going to say, what?
No. First time I tried to read it, I got 60 pages in, 6-0. That took me a couple months, and then never picked it up again, and I didn't remember anything that happened in it. As in, there's a pretty decently large, considering you're only 60 pages into a 1,000-page book, there's a decently large death. And I didn't remember it happened.
Good.
Like,
we've all been there.
That is the chapter that I stopped on. Why don't I remember this?
We've all been there. Yeah. Where you reread a book and gone, wait, huh?
Like, let me just go back a few pages because I don't remember how this set up. To be fair, I have done that. Like, but speaking of like your buddy read with Olivia and I buddy read a 200-page book last month. It's out there because I did finally finish it. She finished it in a day, and it took me 2 months because after she finished it in a day, I was like, well, this isn't a buddy read anymore. I can just pick this up whenever. And she was like, oh, message me when you get to like certain parts. And I was just like, yeah, eventually.
Yeah, that's me and Abby at the moment reading the Skullduggery books. It's like, I finished it. We suck at them.
Like set pages because we fail every time, and then we set pages, and then both of us fail anyway.
Well, the thing is that we've got different versions of the book, so your set pages is different from mine. So we went, right, no, chapters, and then we're going to try chapters, and hope to God that one.
Me and Hannah have not successfully buddy read a book yet, and you know how many times we've planned?
To be fair, a couple of times it's been because the book is really bad.
Yeah, we read
like, I've started it and then gone, I don't have time for this, let's buddy read something else.
Well, the last one we tried to buddy read, I got 3 chapters in, you got like 1 chapter in, and we went, nah.
We were buddy reading Spin the Dawn, and we both hated it. Like, we hated it. And, like, for very different reasons. I think Ali was just like, oh, it's boring. And I was like, ugh, it's really badly written, and here's a long list of reasons why. And Ali was like, then let's just not read it then. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to continue this.
I will say the chapter a day thing, even though with a book as big as War and Peace, with chapters as small as War and Peace, it does then mean it takes forever. However, it means that you definitely do it, because if you miss a day, I actually miss one chapter. But also,
yeah, but I don't. I miss 4 chapters.
But then to get myself to sit there and read, I'm like, well, it's only 1 chapter. Like, in my edition, most of the chapters are 2 pages. Like, and I don't mean 2 leaves of paper, I mean leaf and other side of leaf. Some of them are bigger, some of them are quite a bit bigger, but a lot of the chapters are so short that to get me to actually pick it up, I'm like, I just read 1, and nobody has read it, and she's expecting me to say what it's about.
Yeah.
And so I've only read 1 day so far, for the entire year.
I mean, we've got like 10 minutes and then we're calling it quits, Cat, but thanks. Okay, so this is the part where we make our predictions for the next book, because we need Abby to read your back page, because my back page is, again, only like 2 sentences long. So, for context, the back page that I've got is, the Deathbringer has risen. Skullduggery and Valkyrie have 7 days to uncover the necromancer's secret before it's too late. The clock is ticking. Lord Vile is loose, and after this one, nothing will ever be the same again. But what I really like is that is definitely spooky, and I've noticed that she's got like a really like creepy pattern on her face.
I know who that is. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Isn't that
how she looks on my cover?
I also want to know why Anakin Skywalker's rocking up. What's going on? Is that Kylo Ren?
Why not?
It's a bit Kylo Ren, isn't it?
I saw what's-her-face on the cover and went, huh, I'm pretty sure that's me when I was 15.
That was me when I was 15!
So is that Melancholia as the Deathbringer then? Interesting.
My internet is having a moment.
On mine. I mean, not kind of physically, because I've got a black cover. But you may have heard me giggling when you read out the synopsis.
Yeah.
If you've watched any of the others, you'll know how long my versions are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Not this time.
No, it's exactly the same.
Oh, interesting.
The exact same. I was like, oh, that's a short one. Let's see what we've.
Maybe that's when they started doing the short ones then.
Yeah, because those covers came out around book 6. Because that's when I stopped collecting them because I had the old covers, and then I was like, oh, they're not gonna match, and gave up.
Okay, the camera's bad enough quality because I'm not using the one I usually use. So you can't see what it says, but that's the next one.
Yeah, okay, so it goes back to normal. Interesting.
It's just the Deathbringer that is an outlier.
To be fair, a lot happens in this one.
Yeah, what worries me is after this book, the audiobook's no longer available on script. So I'm hoping they get smaller after this so that I don't end up doing what I did last time and just leaving it to the last minute. I know some of them are, some of them aren't. We've lost Ali.
They are not shorter.
Some of them are. Like, some of the ones that I've got, like, 10, 11 and 12 are a lot thinner.
Yeah, but up until the end of the first series, they are massive.
Huh?
10, 11 and 12? Don't you
Yeah.
11? 9's tiny.
My 9 is not tiny. My 9 is about the same. But then you have my 10 and 12.
I mean...
So, don't know.
Like, that's the current one that we're going to read next month. It's
yeah.
To me. I can see the difference.
So that's, yeah. I think you can... Between 6 and 10.
Once you start on season 2, which the fact that this book series has a season 2.
Yeah, that confuses. You keep talking about seasons, and I'm like, it's all one book. What are you talking about?
So he splits them up into season 1 and season 2.
Right.
So between books 9 and 10, there was actually a big gap in years.
Okay.
But considering he was publishing a book every year, there's a big gap in years to the point where Valkyrie actually ages up, possibly a little past what she would have if they had just went year by year. I think it's
right.
So she comes back early 20s.
Interesting.
So, there's a big gap. I was waiting a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think when he comes back, I just think that it didn't have the same flow because it's a different sort of world.
Right.
Like with everything that's happened in the ones in season 1.
Yeah.
Then with the events of that. I mean, one thing that I can tell you already, Rawhaven, we know, has then been set up. So you can then even imagine, even if there had just been the gap between Rawhaven being setting up and then the next one, that's a different thing. Rawhaven is still a thing and it's had some time to establish itself by the time we get to season 2. So that then means that's a whole other thing to deal with. So yeah, and then also just kind of bringing her back because obviously there was a big gap. So he kind of writes about that. So Resurrection is just essentially the resurrection of the series.
Okay.
So it kind of brings everything back up to speed. So you don't find out everything of what happened in the gap because some of it is sprinkled later on in the further books, and some of it is just not needed, just left to time. You can just guess what it was. And so yeah, Resurrection is literally just bringing you up to speed to what you need to know. We're here now, and then go from there. Which is why it's nice and short.
Nice.
Yay! Dead or Alive is huge.
Yeah. Dead or Alive is massive.
I'm scared.
I've actually put my. I don't know if you can see this. It's in a frame now.
That's what I've done with mine.
It was just resting on my little shelf here, which also has all of the things that I use for photographs, just in case you cared. But it kept falling down every time I walked past it too quickly. So I was like, it's in a frame now. So
mine's still in the envelope. It's that white thing.
Yeah.
Wait, there. Which
Yeah.
people have assumed is my certificate for my degree because that's my hat. It is not. This is a Skullduggery Pleasant poster. Much more important. Genuinely, I know where that is. I don't know where my certificate for my degree is.
Oh, I do know where mine is, but only because I found it yesterday whilst tidying.
I've got no clue where it's on.
I've got no idea where mine is.
You're too young to have been to uni, Bekka. What are you talking about? You've only just finished GCSE.
I wish. I wish I was still that young.
Oh, to be that young and free.
Yes! I was so young and free then and wasn't chronically depressed. It would have been so nice.
I wasn't chronically depressed.
My boss at work has been at the company. We recently, like a month or so ago, celebrated his like 40 years at the company. I work in a call center. He was like, "Oh, it wasn't that long ago that this change happened in legislation for the thing that we sell. Like, it wasn't that long ago. It was 2013." I was like, "Neil, that is the year I left my GCSEs."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you know how much I've changed as a person since 2013? How much I, as a person, have changed? I used to care what boys thought of me. Like, I used to care about boys, and now couldn't give a shit. Couldn't give a shit.
My personality is the exact same. Just how I express it has changed.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Like, I'm still deeply insecure. I also just don't give a shit anymore.
But, like, in 2013, I was dating. I had prospects.
And
now we had this discussion because me and Bekka, around the same point in time, when Iron Man 3 came out, both went on a first date to the cinema.
Yeah.
I mentioned to her, obviously, everyone who knows Bekka knows she's a massive Marvel fan. Now, I also
literally wearing a t-shirt right now.
I'm not as deep into it as Bekka, but I do love Marvel. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm about to freak you out," in a comment on her video. The first Marvel movie I ever watched was Iron Man 3 in the cinema because a lad I had fancied for 3 years, and he'd fancied me for 3 years. It didn't work out, but we're fine now. He picked it, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to disagree with him," because I was stupid. And so I just went and watched it, and 1, it was amazing, and I now adore every Marvel movie. And 2, at the end of it, bless his soul, he was like, "Why did you say yes to watching it when you've not seen the others?" I was like, "But I liked it."
Yeah, that's fair. I think part of me resents the Phantom Menace of the Star Wars franchise purely because I thought I was going to see it with my boyfriend and it was just going to be the two of us. And actually it was me, my boyfriend, and his entire family. And I mean like aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, siblings, like there was 24 of us. Like it was a big fucking group. We had to order our tickets in groups because Cineworld would only let you buy 6 at a time. And I had to sit with him and his family afterwards because again, what I thought was just going to be the two of us turned into a whole birthday event for his younger brother. And I think that's why I hate that franchise, that film in particular. I love Star Wars, but I think that's why I hate Phantom Menace.
I mean, it has made me remember that my first date was surprisingly young and was to go and see the series that shall not be named film 1 in the cinema. I was about 5.
Oh.
And so me, him, his little sister, 2 of his friends, and his mum went and watched it at the cinema in a line, all sat together.
See, that's cute.
I don't the cinema very well, which confuses me because I should have remembered it because it should have been tiny because we were in Germany.
Yeah.
So it had to be basically something that was set up by the American army. Otherwise, I would have been watching philosophers in German. And it wasn't. It was definitely in English. So now I'm wondering why I don't remember the cinema. Like, my brain has just inputted it with a regular cinema. And it's like, no. Why would the Americans build an entire... Americans in 2002.
Yeah.
They built a cinema.
Yeah.
See, Iron Man 3 was my first ever date. Ever. I've been on like 3 since. I haven't put it this way, I cannot remember the last time I spoke to the male of the species who I wasn't related to. I can't remember the last time.
It's not worth it. They're not worth it.
No. Especially not one my age who isn't my best friend's boyfriend.
I've been with the same one for almost 5 years now, so.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Genuinely can't.
I'm not gonna lie, Bekka, you made that sound like the only male you're interested in is your best friend's boyfriend.
God, no. No.
You're like, oh, why would I talk to a guy unless he's my best friend's boyfriend? I'm like, oh, Bekka is living a teenage YA drama. Love that.
No.
I mean, she's a teenager. We did just.
To be fair, I did fancy all of my friends' boyfriends, and I was that kid that was like, I felt awful because I was the one that inevitably set them up in the first place. So, like, there are 3 individual instances that I can think of off the top of my head where I was like, I like this boy. I'm going to introduce him to my friends to make sure that I'm not, like, just rose-tinted glasses, he's not an asshole. And then, like, I've introduced them, and my friends and the boy have been like, oh my god, soulmate? And I've just been like, yeah, I can make this work, and then, like, got them together. And I'm not gonna lie, one of those couples got married. So
Look at you go.
I was really good at matchmaking, so long as I fancied the person I was matchmaking.
No. I only ever fancied actors apart from one boy at school, and he was gay, turns out. And I was like, oh, I was barking up the entire wrong tree there.
Well, I only figured out that I was Demi, like, during the pandemic. Remember I just told you that I fancied the same guy for 3 years? And this, like, built up over we were in the same form class, which is, for anyone who doesn't have the same education system as the UK, basically where you sit and get your registration done every morning. We were in the same form class for all 3 years. And it slowly built over that. And then eventually we went on the date, and literally our form tutor was like, finally.
I've been putting you two next to each other for years.
Miss Agnew was like, has it taken this long? What do you mean?
Thing is, though, like, as a teacher, it always killed me whenever there was, like, students that obviously fancied each other but wouldn't admit it to each other. And, like, I remember as a teacher being like, I can't sit those two next to each other. The angst is too real. Or, like, I had one student come up and be like, Miss, I need you to move me. I've just broken up with my boyfriend. I was like, oh, that's a shame. And she was like, no, you sat us next to each other, so I'm going to need you to move me. And I was like, oh, yes, it's over here.
Oh, we never had that. We never had anything like that happen. Wish it did.
I didn't date too much in school, so
oh no,
I was saved from that mostly.
Fair enough. Right, I think we need to call it here. But it has been lovely as always talking to you about skullduggery. And obviously this will be left up. So yeah. Is there anything you want to plug whilst I click end broadcast?
I am posting on the Comic Book Sanctum every single day throughout July to celebrate 1 year of it. So go check that out if you're interested in comics.
Love that.
It's killing me, but it's fun.
Abby?
The Mary Shelley-a-thon hosted by Mad Cheshire Rabbit in August. Go check it out.
I will be on that. Love that.
Oh, yeah.
Love the sound of that. Cool. Okay, I will see you next time then. Bye.
Bye.